Ready? Go. All right, welcome everybody. TGD today. It's Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Dr. Grind's in the house.
That's right.
How are you, babe?
Hey, I'm doing super great, man.
Back in black and
Can't complain.
Looking good as ever.
You can't beat it, brother.
And then we got this old fart between us here.
Hey, you can't beat it.
Stand on your head
Life
and
is
shake your
good.
pockets.
Let's go, baby.
We can play
Let's
for
go.
whatever falls out, and Spot died.
I tell you what, this
That's
is
it.
one of the more exciting days every year that we look forward to because we get an old friend of the shows, of ours, and we get to learn about the latest product coming out from Callaway. And, of course, he is one of the best manufacturers reps in the business.
Yes, sir.
We're
Yeah,
talking
he
about
is.
Mr. Nick Kruger.
Our special guest.
Good morning.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming,
Good to
man.
see you,
Glad to
bud.
be here.
Glad you made it. The
Thank
long
you.
drive from south down yonder.
Yeah, a whole 40 minutes maybe.
You can't
Thanks for
beat
having
it.
me.
So, Nick, what's going on, man? Callaway is just busting it right now.
We are. It's been phenomenal, and we're very excited about this year. We've got some exciting new partnerships, exciting new products, exciting players on tour. It's all coming together, so it should be a great year.
Well, the XR16 is just taking the world by storm, and especially with the commercial run that y'all been doing, the Boeing commercials, and then, of course, the Callaway Boeing commercials, and then the Boeing Callaway commercials, and, you know, it's just all exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
yeah.
To have a partner like Boeing is unbelievable.
And what they were able to do, Al, was improve the aerodynamics of the XR, series head,
Yep.
and increase club head speed, and, as they call it, disturb the air.
Yep. With
The aerofoil.
yeah, the aerospace engineering, behind that company is phenomenal. I mean, I can't think of anybody that would be any better at it.
Well,
Neither can
it was such a happenstance situation of how all that
Right.
conversation started going down. I attended the meeting you invited me to a couple weeks ago, and just hearing that story about how all this collaboration came about, it was just tripped upon, basically. And
Yeah, they've been a great partner of ours going back for quite a while, but I don't think that our R&D has ever leaned upon their R&D. And this is really a true collaboration between Boeing and Callaway, their R&D as well as ours. And
That's big.
They were able to bring things to the table that we just didn't have the experience with.
Sure.
And
Sure.
It's been phenomenal.
They deal with materials that the normal place that most places don't even know exist.
Mm-hmm.
The materials that they use, and it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at Callaway's history, they teamed up with Ruger back in the day, well, in the titanium, because Ruger made such a superior titanium, and if Ruger makes a good gun, which I like Ruger guns very well, they also done a great job on the titanium.
Well, you believe he went there.
He did.
He did. He went there.
But,
Nick,
I mean, but you think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're with Boeing. I mean, you're talking
Yep.
about a company that is aerospace, that's based building airplanes and that kind of – I mean, no offense to Callaway whatsoever, but these guys probably have some of the best engineers in the world.
Oh,
as a
if you-
golf company to begin with.
Well, the golf company, but I'm talking
Yeah.
Boeing in general.
Oh,
The
Oh, yeah,
engineers
yeah.
that are just out, out the roof, and then you give them this little idea about a golf club, and it's something different and kind of that they don't know about and intrigues them, and they just go nuts with it
yeah.
Well,
and come up with this kind of idea.
Right.
That's the way
Nick-
I see it when I watch the commercial.
Nick and the crew that was with Callaway, this meeting I attended a couple weeks ago, they showed us this little video, and it was the chief of R&D for Boeing, and he talked a little bit about, he's got a small staff of 2,100 engineers, 2,100 that he directs on a daily basis to design and build airplanes. And he said, we got so excited when Callaway
That's what I was thinking.
asked
Yep.
us to look at a golf club, of all things, because Callaway knew they had a great design, but how can we make it a little bit better? And we don't have the air disturbance experience,
Correct.
because you would sit here and think, well, you want to make it as streamlined as possible so the air flows over it.
Less drag, yeah.
Well, it's just the opposite, Al. it amazed me. I mean, and I flew for 10 years in the Air Force. They want to disturb the air on the back side of the driver to help, almost like a flap, to push that head down and increase your club head as you're coming down at a descent into the ball.
Interesting.
So wait a minute. Wait.
It's just the opposite.
Wait. So you want to push the head down.
Mm-hmm. When that air comes over, if it just flows over naturally, and I'm drawing a picture here, folks, pretty simple stuff. Yeah, but if the air's just flowing over naturally like this, there is dead space back here. Okay?
Which intentionally is pushing the face up.
That's right. And fighting against club head speed.
Do you see where I'm going now?
What they did with this foil,
they're blowing every theory out of the water with this TrackMan. You got to hit up, got to hit up, got to hit up.
Okay,
you're doing it naturally with your golf.
They're actually disturbing the air. And Nick, when I'm wrong, stop me.
I believe they call it tripping the flow.
There you go. Thank you. Tripping the flow.
Which I had never heard of.
That's as simple as you can get it.
Yeah. So basically, what they want to do is the air comes over here. It's pushing this down.
And what they wanted to do is create it when it comes over. Is it starts getting disturbed here and underneath here, and pushes this down and increases the club head speed coming down.
Pushing this down, what does that do, Professor? It gets the head going up naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. But it loads that head versus it's slowing down on the way down.
I understand.
I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this as an engineer, and I'm going, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
It is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said what I said
earlier. Hats off to Callaway. Sorry, Nick. I kind of went on a tangent there.
That's all right.
That's awesome.
As far as the average consumer goes, last year was our first year really utilizing the Speed Step Crown. So this is the newest iteration of it. Last year's Speed Step Crown was great for us as far as reducing drag, improving aerodynamics. But with the partnership with Boeing, they were able to take that and further reduce the drag by another 30%. Even though it's actually more subtle, it's closer to the face, it's not quite as noticeable, it's a lot more efficient. So the average consumer looking at it won't realize all the technology that's going on behind it, but it looks great, it feels great, it's super forgiving, and you can swing it really fast with the same effort. It's unbelievable, but what's really unbelievable is all the technology behind it.
I'm seeing in the Fit Center, I'm seeing as much as 2 miles per hour, same swing speed. So if you've got an 85 mile an hour club head speed with the driver, I'm seeing 2 more miles an hour faster with that club. That's just what I'm seeing.
Yep.
So hats off to Callaway.
Faster ball speed, faster club head speeds, faster ball speed.
And more distance.
More distance.
There you go.
Yeah, baby.
And the spin rate's good, too.
Spin rate's been great. Yep. Yeah. It's got the newest generation of the Armoto face, which has the reinforced ribbing here. What that allows us to do is move some of the weight away from the face, further back in the head, and deeper in the head. So you get a lower CG, you get a more rearward CG, so you get more forgiveness. And in the past, typically that was always the trade-off. Lower spin would be a lower MRY. So you would trade off the forgiveness for a lower spin, where with this we were able to really increase both the forgiveness and reduce the spin at the same time. So it's been performing great, and
it looks really good. I dig the flat black.
Who would have thought that? Wow, caught me off guard.
Cosmetics is important.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, Nick. A lot of great stuff, new stuff that has come out. We talked about it last year. You had given us little snippets of, there may be some stuff working with the Apex. Now we've seen it, and the Godfather's even got it in his bag now. So tell us a little bit about Apex, about XR, about the irons, and also the wedges.
All right. Starting with the Apex Pro here in Al's hand, this has become our most used iron on all of the tours. That replaced our previous generation of the Apex Pro. It's a carbon steel head, forged, feels great. Very minimal offset, very thin top line, shorter blade length from heel to toe. It's very easy to work as far as trying to shape your shots into the greens. Looks great. They went to the higher polished chrome. It frames the ball a little bit better at address. That's what a lot of the better players are looking for. So that's the Pro version there, and then we have a cavity back version in the Apex line as well, and that has our face cup technology in that. Let me grab one of those.
You got one of those?
I do.
You got a regular Apex there, Al?
I've got the Blade, and then I've got the Pro.
Oh, okay. Nick's coming up with one.
I have one here.
All right, folks, pay attention to this. This is good stuff. No, Gene, you can't have one.
Okay.
This is our first forged head that utilizes the face cup technology. What that does is it really increases ball speed on off-center shots, particularly lower on the face, where most people have a tendency to miss the ball anyways. So what I've found, just in my own personal experience with it, is that I can catch it a groove or two low and get the same distance that I'm expecting out of a flush shot. It's been great.
Preach, brother.
Feels great, sets up great. The improvements that they've made as far as the design and the cosmetics go, as you get down into the shorter irons, there's a little less offset. It's easier to work the ball. Again, like what you would have with this here, trying to shape your shots if you're pin seeking, trying to hit a high draw to a back left pin. It's easier to do that with this than what we had with the previous generation. So what the better players were looking for in a forged cavity back design is exactly what they've done with that iron for us.
And as I've told you, and in our transition this year, I'm pretty picky about what I play. If I'm going to go out and shoot a 15 handicap, I got to look good doing it. Okay? Just be quiet. The XR Pro, which what I was playing with the cast head, was giving me great distance performance. I enjoyed him. You know that. You've seen me play with him. The Apex, this year's Apex, was the first forged club I've ever put in my bag that I lost no distance, that my dispersion pattern reduced. I know I can just set it up and I'm going to hit it this way, and absolutely the best performing forged club I've ever put in my hands. But that's me.
Yep. Oh, they're superb.
A solid 15.
I mean, there's no two ways around it.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Let's talk wedges. This PM wedge is taking the world by storm.
So this was just announced down in Orlando at the PGA show. It's a new finish. It's the black finish. This was the original design that was chrome. It's very unique. It looks unique. It performs uniquely. It was a collaboration between Phil Mickelson and Roger Cleveland. They came up with that design. What Phil was looking for was a wedge that he was able to lay open. If he caught something out towards the toe or higher on the face, that would spin and react the way that it would on a center shot. And particularly around majors, when the rough gets really thick, really deep, close to the greens, he's trying to hit different shots, do different things like Phil likes to do.
Yep. This is the one interesting thing about this wedge is from what I understand, I think you can probably help us with this a little bit, is Nicholson likes to hit some of his shots off the toe on purpose.
It deadens the shot.
Deadens the shot.
Well, it's like hitting a putt off the toe. It just deadens the putt.
Right. So when I first saw it, not knowing this, just from being a club builder more than I thought, well, that's kind of strange. Why are they doing that? So, but that's from what I understand is you get when you do open it. If you do open it, it gives you more face area, and then and like I say, Hugh, it does come off with less.
It makes it come off. The reason they did the grooves and how Phil wanted to create a little more weight and room at the toe up there with the grooves, because it'll give it to where it'll actually spin the ball, because you can hit it off the toe. You can hit it high on the face, and it'll come off softer. But it's still not going to spin. It's going to knuckle. Well, this wedge has created the fact of where the ball can actually generate spin because it will compress in those grooves. And that's the thing. People don't understand that with the loft and the grooves, when you hit down on a ball like you're hitting with a wedge, especially around the greens, it's going to get the ball to flatten and hang in those grooves so that it can create spin. And so that's why that was done.
Yep.
Great explanation.
Excellent.
Another really cool feature about this wedge that they kind of stumbled upon was that the surface area is a lot larger. So the wedge itself is a lot larger. There was a lot more mass. And what they realized when they made a wedge this large was that the weight was so heavy, swing weights were kind of out of whack. So what they did was they ported it out here, they removed the weight from the sole. And what they found when they removed the weight from the sole was that made the CG location higher on the face.
That's
so
correct.
before they even touched the grooves, the ball was spinning more.
Yes.
Which is exactly what you want on a wedge.
Right.
It would also flight the ball a little bit better, which is another thing that you want in a wedge.
Yeah, the wedge wouldn't be jumping straight
Yep.
up in the
Yep.
air. It gives you more a little that boring, little lower wedge shot into the green, which that's the one thing that went down at the show when I went in the Cleveland area there on the tee and got to see Roger for a minute and talk to him. He was like, "Dang, man, you're still alive." He goes, "I thought you." And
You mean the Callaway?
Yeah.
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 And we started talking about this, and he was like, yeah, he said, man, I thought this was the ugliest thing in the world when we made it. And he goes, it's turned out to be one of the biggest successes I've ever done.
Oh, without
And,
a doubt. Yeah.
You know, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So that has led us to the MD3 wedge. This is a special one because it's a limited edition that'll be coming out for St. Patrick's Day. But you can see in the MD3 that they've incorporated the same porting that we had in the Mickelson wedge. Again, because it increases the spin rate, it raises the CG, it makes it easier to flight the ball. And then with the different wedges, with the different lofts, they've utilized different grooves as well. So when you're using a 48 or 50-degree wedge and you're maxing it out for distance, you don't want that to spin necessarily as much as a 60-degree or a 56-degree wedge. So the grooves on there will be much more similar to what you would have in your iron set. And then as you get into the higher lofts and you're utilizing it more for partial swing shots, the grooves get deeper, they get sharper. So,
Yeah. And what a lot of people, these all the faces on these are milled. And the beauty of that is when you buy a wedge off the rack, if that wedge face has not been milled, what you'll get is the human eye can't see it, but they're not perfectly flat. Okay, there's going to be little baby
You're talking about grooves.
little baby
In the
waves.
grooves.
No, the actual metal. No,
The actual metal.
the surface of the club itself.
Okay.
So this whole area right here, if it's a cast head or it hasn't been milled after forging process, there's little waves that is
Okay.
in that metal.
Okay.
Very, very minute.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But the beauty of this is once you're done with the forging process, you come in and you mill the face.
Uh-huh.
And then what that does is it allows that face to have no discrepancies in it.
No
So it's
imperfections.
an extra step, but it needs to be done, and they've done it in
okay.
these wedges.
All right, super. And that blacked out version, that's pretty sharp there, bud.
Sexy.
it's
Yep.
pretty cool. It's the first dynamic gold shaft label that is not gold in the history of the company.
In the history
They
of the
did
company.
that especially for us, for this wedge, to match the paint fill on the grip as well as the head.
It's got a little
pretty-
shamrock on it too, which is pretty cool.
Wow, but dog, I didn't even see that.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. You like that?
It's cute.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to check it out?
You're such a. No, I'm not checking it out. It's going in the truck. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
especially
you.
Since Gene lost you.
All donations are appreciated. Since my other wedge seemed to fly out the window.
Well, it ain't
All right, moving on.
Nothing else goes in that direction.
I'm gonna keep these over here.
Yeah, we're gonna keep these over here. We done
Real quick,
learn our
before
lesson.
we jump off of irons, move it along. But talk briefly about XROS, if you would.
Yep, this is a great addition to the XR family here. This is a more forgiving, easier to hit version of what our current XR iron was, which was the #1 selling iron last year.
Yes.
So this is just an easier to hit model. It has the face cup technology, a little wider sole, thicker top line, a little added offset. As you get into the longer irons, they've gone back to more traditional lofts. There had been a tendency across the board with all the manufacturers to strengthen the lofts in that chase for distance, that players were really struggling with their longer irons, getting
Right.
them airborne. If you can't get it off the ground, you're not going to get any distance out of it. So
Right.
they've gone back to higher lofts. They're easier to hit. But because of the face cup, we're not sacrificing distance, actually getting more distance out of it.
You're right. You're right.
And
but
also-
understand, folks, now, if you don't mind, the XR it has not gone anywhere.
Nope.
So you got XR, you got XR Pro, XR OS. So you got 3 versions of the XR now.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
And that club right there would be more for your 15 and up handicappers, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And it
Then why aren't
sets
you
up.
playing?
So I haven't got my sets yet. They're coming.
I'm just saying, if you're 15,
Jeff, hit the button.
I can't help it,
I
man.
couldn't resist.
Moving on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bait you. I just
No, that's
I
all right.
couldn't. I had
Talk real quick. In all of these heads that you have, Nick, multiple shaft options, right?
Correct.
Multiple
Oh,
shaft
yeah.
options.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
probably a dozen different steel shafts you can put in there without an upcharge. All of the popular ones, Dynamic Gold, KBS, True Tempers. The Speed Step is a very popular, nice, lightweight steel shaft. Players are able to get more distance out of it, swing it a little faster.
What
But
about
yeah,
graphite options?
Oh, yeah.
graphite? I would say one of the most popular shafts that I've seen over the last 2 years has been that recoil shaft.
Oh, no
It's been
doubt.
Unbelievable.
Yep. I've built 2 sets at the shop so far of the RXs, one set of the OSs and one set of the standards. And both of them had recoils in them.
Should have bought stock. I told you.
Yep. But one
I've
thing.
sold 4 sets this week.
Yep.
Recoils.
who had
One,
the first set?
You
Your
did.
boy?
You're right.
Yep.
Your boy?
The one thing that a lot of people don't know
Got 'em in the garage.
about these Callaways, and especially the RX line, is they have variable lengths as far as shaft length. Most clubs have a 1/2 inch shaft progression from club to club. These babies don't.
Is it
Oh, you're talking
RX or
about the
XR?
XR.
I'm sorry, XR. I had on that RX 100 Honda
Just the
growing up.
drugs, Jeff.
Yeah,
He was thinking
That's our
about his
putter line.
prescription.
I was thinking about my whole motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the XR, the lengths are not. Most clubs separate in 1/2 inch increments. Okay, so,
Right.
but these don't. They're in in the. You have to go onto their website to actually see the specs.
Right.
And it's done in point. Da. So the lengths are very, very crucial. And it's totally unique, and it's the first time I've seen anybody do this. There's instead of having a 1/2 inch, there may be 3/4 inch, or the
Well, also, too, going
very
soft, there's
interesting.
lofts. I mean, that's become almost untraditional.
Yep,
you know,
yep.
You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's a fact.
In going back to older lofts versus, what, as Nick said, all the manufacturers have been getting stronger. Oh, look how far our club hits it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no doubt. All right. We XR16 driver, we talked about the new relationship with Boeing and all that. Now, there's word on the street of a Sub-Zero.
There is.
Nikki, come on. Help me here, bud. What are we talking about?
It is.
Is this a new
version of the XR
submarine?
driver?
Is this a Callaway submarine? Is this a new refrigerator freezer combination?
It's still pretty top secret.
Uh-huh.
And at this point, I do not believe they're not planning on bringing it to market. Depending on the success that we have on tour, the demand might be so great that we have no choice but to bring it to market. I know that Mickelson's playing with it. There are a couple other players out there that have it in the bag that are experiencing a lot of success with it. It is an XR driver, but the way that it's designed, it has the lowest CG of any driver that we've ever made. And thus the title is Sub-Zero.
Yep.
Lowest CG.
Yeah, wasn't it 2 years ago that everybody was talking about high forward CG?
Oh, God, yeah. Tee it high, let it fly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
So is
That
the
other
Godfather going to see one of these Sub-Zeros?
No.
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 No. Why y'all just immediately start shaking your head?
When the Pope becomes
Those things
Jewish,
are tour
you go,
issue,
"Nice."
man.
Moving on.
I tried to get their tour issue.
Al, did we miss anything with Apex?
Well, it's the Apex. We'll go ahead and show them the blade. This thing is really sweet. It's a MB. So I brought in one of these just to as a show and tell.
So you got Apex Pro or the
Yep.
Apex MB
Yep.
Right.
player club.
The Pro.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So
we hit them all.
yep.
That's good.
Definitely.
Got the PM wedge. Now, you got Sweet Mama in your hands right there.
Surprise!
All right, Nick
surprise,
showed me this a
surprise.
couple weeks ago, and I tried to get to the truck with it. It just didn't work. There's 2 security guards. They were pretty big.
Yep. Yep. The nice bright red head cover helps too,
Yeah.
so I can keep an eye on it.
They didn't have a problem taking me down before I could reach to the truck.
It's
I
pretty
understand the story on this. Backstrike.
Yeah, similar
kind of,
concept
yeah.
to the backstrike,
Yeah.
definitely. And what was unique about the backstrike was the way that it was weighted. The toe would actually go straight up, where a lot of putters are either face balanced or they have toe hang. And that's what everybody's used to. They understand that, they've seen it, they've played with it. This, when you balance it, the toe actually goes straight up. So it's more in line with your stroke. it's less dependent on the torque that you're putting into your swing. It wants to stay square, whether you're straight back, straight through, or if you have a slight arc to your stroke. It's very unique. And when you set up to it at address, it actually sets up very similar to a center shafted putter.
Right.
We'll have it in 2 models, the number 9, which is the small mallet, and then we'll have it in a blade as well. But players that have played with center shafted putters, typically once they go to that, they will not deviate from that.
Right.
There's a lot to it, and this will be unique in the way that it's weighted, but has the characteristics of something that's center shafted.
Okay. When can we expect this out on the market?
Mid-April.
Mid-April.
Yep.
And I hope the Godfather has it a week before that. Moving on.
That is very, very interesting right there.
Isn't it,
because
though?
I've seen, you've seen, people that'll, they'll take face balancing was popular, for years and years. And what that would be a putter that would be, dead like this. You'd take people that actually have toe down putters, and they'd want to go to a face balance, but this is the exact opposite of both. It's a toe up putter.
That would be
Which
face
is-
balance there.
Yeah, which is totally unique. I can't wait to see this thing in action because it's very, very, very unique.
White Hot series just came out.
Yes.
RX.
That's what Al had on his mind earlier when he said RX. This is the
There
White
we
Hot
go.
RX.
Yeah. This is a lower dollar amount entry. Not an entry level.
Slightly,
but
yeah. It's not necessarily chasing a price point. What's unique about this is that it has the technology that we brought to market last year with the Works insert.
right.
So you had the dimple pattern on the face, really improves roll, reduces skidding, and gets the ball tracking on a better line quicker and easier. So what they've been able to do is incorporate the White Hot insert, but with this technology.
Right.
So it sounds a little bit softer, it feels a little bit softer.
Right. Which everybody's really, especially if you were a 2-ball putter with the original white insert, people like that feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's just being continued.
Exactly.
Is basically it. Right.
Yep. It's an improvement upon the original White Hot insert, which is
Right.
still the most used insert on tour.
Sure it is. Yeah. And Odyssey
Beautiful.
Putters is reach up there at number 1 as far as usage.
On tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have been in the marketplace for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got the number 1 spot on tour. We've had that for over a year now as well.
Well, super. We're going to move on a little bit. I hate to jump over some product, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the new ball,
I'm with you.
the Chrome Soft.
Yes, sir.
So give us a little bit of history on the Chrome
Okay.
Soft.
All right.
And it was interesting in the meeting a couple weeks ago. Callaway last year, if you were to put up a PowerPoint slide with the versions of balls that were available for the company, there was as many as 13.
Easily, yeah.
Okay, let's just throw 13 out as a number.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's
Good with
3.
that.
Now there's 3.
3.
And when you sit and think about it as a golf industry participant like we are, or anybody is in this marketplace, that was brilliant. Because after a while, it just gets to be too much.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
And the consumer,
For consumers, for customers, for
us
reps.
it's just too much. Well, yeah, and for you reps too. I mean, you had to buy a bigger truck just to carry the different balls.
I know, yeah. I was using a trailer there for a while.
Yeah, I know. Tell us a little history on the Chrome Soft and then where we are right now.
Okay. So basically this all started with the Super Soft. The Super Soft was the lowest compression golf ball that we had ever made. It was 35 compression, had our hex aerodynamics, which made it unique in the industry as far as the aerodynamics go. But players, when they hit it, it felt like they were playing with an old Balata. It was so soft, but it wasn't so soft to where they weren't getting any distance out of it.
Sure.
They were getting more distance, and it was spinning less. So it was a tighter dispersion, better carry distance, and it felt 10 times better than anything that they had played in the past. So Super Soft was incredible for us, and that's kind of what led us down the path of creating the Chrome Soft. So the Super Soft, in the past, if you had a really low compression golf ball, it wouldn't be all that durable, or players with really high swing speeds wouldn't get as much out of it. players with higher swing speeds were stumbling upon this super soft, finding them in the trees, or their buddy was telling them about it or whatever.
Right,
They put
right.
it into play, and it was withstanding the higher swing speeds. But the only criticism was that it wasn't spinning as much as they would like around the greens. So Chrome Soft was created with a Tour cover, had the Tour urethane cover, but it also had a significantly lower compression. It was about 30% lower compression than comparable Tour balls that were out there.
Right.
Last year we had, I believe it was 6, may have been more players playing the actual retail version of the Chrome Soft when the Masters rolled around about this time last year, last April. Since then, there have been 6 or 7 different prototypes that the guys have been playing with. As they got deeper into their tour schedule, they were looking for different characteristics out of the golf ball. Everybody loved the original Chrome Soft, especially on those fast, slick Augusta greens, because it would spin so much and it was so soft. It was exactly what they wanted. But as they got into the different rotation of courses, they
Right.
were looking for different things. So there were a couple of prototypes that became most popular. The version that we brought to market this year that's actually in stores now is the newest Chrome Soft. The biggest difference is that it has a dual core. Your average player with average swing speed won't even really notice a difference. May get a little bit more distance off the tee, but it's going to be the same great feel, same great sound, very similar packaging. The last thing we wanted to do was change up a ball that everybody had fallen in love with. But what they were able to do was create a ball with utilizing that dual core that even the better players would love even more, in particular our tour players. So the new Chrome Soft is a 4-piece ball, dual core.
And it's a marvelous ball. What I think I give Callaway a lot of credit for, and I wish some other manufacturers would look at this, is you basically narrowed down your product availability in the balls as a $39 ball, $29 ball, $19 ball, retail.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, and that's very smart. That's very smart. It takes the consumer, they either coming in price shopping,
Yep.
or either they're coming in technology and price, because when you tell them about the technology and they go, and how much is it? And you tell them, and then they go, well, that's cheaper than this.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. It's just a happy combination. So,
Yep.
Congrats.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Job
It's
well
been
done.
great.
Now, you've done some things. Of course, those of us that are higher handicap or older in age, you may want to pick this one up. It comes in the optic yellow.
Yes.
Okay. But also, too, you got the Viz,
Yep. True Viz.
the soccer.
We will have it in yellow and black. It's not out yet. That'll be coming out in April.
Heather will buy that just for the color.
We have red and white.
Red and white has been out for a little while now. Everybody saw it there initially. Everybody bought it, and then we were chasing demand from there. So
That's awesome.
I can't believe
the-
Tom Watson used it.
yep.
Watson used
Me
it
and Watson using it, I about fell out of the chair.
in Hawaii at the
Gene
opening
Weldon
Champions
used it.
Yeah,
Tour event
I
this
almost
year.
fell out of the chair. I was like, as
Yeah.
much of a
Wasn't.
staunch of, tradition as he is,
Mm-hmm.
and he's using that ball, I'm like,
You see
And
that
the
putty
guys-
made? It was about an 80-foot
I know.
putt.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Oh,
It
yeah.
got a few replays on SportsCenter.
Oh, sure
I
it
was
did.
like, man, this is
Nice.
a first.
Score.
This is a first.
And then
Yeah.
the commentator saying, well, we got no problem following that thing,
Right. Well,
you know?
that's why they made it.
Where did that
It's
come-
easier to see it. It's
Yeah.
more visible. It actually gives you the appearance of being slightly larger, even though it's exactly the same ball as the Chrome
It
Soft.
does, yes.
Yep. So it inspires a little bit more confidence, especially around the greens, chipping
Yeah.
and putting.
Oh, it does, because you actually see the spin on the
That's
ball
what-
when you're chipping.
That's what I
And
say.
the
Most
thing-
people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that, like you talking about, if you do it in yellow and black, then you are going to be able to see it better because of the
Sure.
contrast. Where
Sure.
the yellow or the orange, like when Wilson came out with the orange a long time ago with
Yep.
Jerry Pate, it was hard to see.
Yep.
And now the new
Pinnacle.
kind of neon stuff, you can see it, but if you put a contrast in there like that, Gene can find his balls.
That's what.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm saying.
let's-
Well,
let's
people
not-
also
let's
people
not
say
go
they
there.
like
This
to
is a
watch them
family
spin. People like to watch them spin. They just literally like
Well,
to
they do.
see the.
They do.
see it.
And especially when you're working with an instructor or whatever, he's, you got a PM wedge, you're actually able to see this thing really, spin off that wedge, where with a regular white ball, hell, you have no clue,
Right.
Yep.
He may say you're doing it, but in actuality, you visually can't pick it up. So.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A
It's
lot of
neat.
people don't know
Yeah.
that they're imparting backspin on their wedge shots because the ball's not spinning; it's rolling out. They think they're putting topspin on it.
Sure,
they're not. They're just not catching it as clean or spinning it as much as they would like to.
Right,
But this actually shows them that.
Yeah, very nice.
good stuff. And I'm looking forward to the yellow black one. Yeah, that's going to be neat.
It's going to be fun.
Of course, the Godfather will, of course, be looking for some of that to arrive.
Yep.
If it's free, you can bet he's taking.
Oh,
He just backed the truck up to his house.
Yep.
We missed the hybrid, so I thought I'd bring those in just real quick.
Perfect.
So I'll let Nick.
Yep. Here in your right hand, you've got the new Apex Hybrid. It complements the Apex Pro as well as the Apex Cup Face irons very nicely. It sets up much more traditional. The players that really are gravitating towards this are those players that fear a hook with their hybrids. There's still a lot of golfers out there that swear by their long irons just because they know they're going to hook a hybrid. Where that sets up very neutral, almost looks slightly open at address. It does not have that draw bias. It has minimal offset. But it does have our face cup technology. So again, you get the ball speeds and the forgiveness from that face cup,
You
which
get the
are
pop
incredible.
off the face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
next
then
up,
the new OS.
RX.
Yep, that's the XR OS that has the face cup as well. And again, this is all about ease of use, distance, hitting it high, letting it fly. It's got a little wider sole to it. It's designed a little bit more wood-like than the current XR or XR Pro. So again, you've got the three different lines to create that one family, and then you've got the Apex as well.
Okay, and then one more thing I wanted to show is the fairways. This is the XR.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a slightly larger footprint, which really increases the MOI. It's very forgiving. What's nice about that is it still has a very shallow profile. It gets the ball up in the air very easily. That's what most people struggle with their fairway woods. Great ball speeds, great distance, and easy to hit. It's typically one of players' probably most difficult clubs in their bags.
And has a very good shaft in it. I've always enjoyed Fujikura. I mean, I got a good relationship with those guys. It goes way back. But it's an awesome shaft they're putting in this thing, too.
Yeah, it's great.
People like the look of it. They really do. The combination of that black head and the red shaft. Yeah, it's
And
gaining
then
a lot of attention.
Here we have the Great Big Bertha.
Yep.
Yep. So with that, you have adjustability. You can change loft. You can change lie. We'll have that in the Heavenwood. Heavenwood has been a huge success for us. So
Yeah, the
I'm
Divine
so happy to have
Nine.
that back. Yeah,
Talk
makes
real
my
quick.
job easier.
Where's degrees of a Heavenwood? Does that fall between a 7 and a 5? Is that a 5 and a 4? Where does that fall?
It's a 7-wood loft with a 5-wood shaft.
Yeah,
Okay.
the shaft is a little bit longer than
Yep.
a 5-wood. Yeah, so it'll play similar to a 4-wood, except it launches it higher. So I would say the distance is probably comparable to a 4-wood, but it's going to
Yes,
launch
sir.
it much higher. It's going to carry further.
Okay.
It's not the distance isn't coming from roll; it's coming from in the air.
Okay.
Yep.
Super.
Yep.
Eli Wood.
Anything we miss, Al?
There's just so much. I mean, we could go on
There's
and
tons.
on, but I think we've, highlighted everything that we've got here today for everybody. Yes, sir.
Nick, I can't thank you enough.
I've had a
bud.
blast.
It's always our pleasure for you to stop by
Thank
and
you, guys.
spend a few moments with us. I appreciate your time.
much.
I know
I
Al
appreciate it.
does.
Yeah.
He gets
Yeah.
excited when Nikki's coming in.
Yeah, it's new toys. I love it,
Yeah,
man.
he gets excited.
Well, they need to come see you so you can build them a set.
Definitely. Yeah, we're now at Al's Custom Golf. We have a component account with Callaway, so we actually hand build every single club. So we'd love to have you stop by the shop and take good care of you.
Definitely.
They can come see me and I'll hand build it for
That's
them.
it. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Hush. TGD Radio and
Can you
TV
put a
are
grip
produced
on
and
it?
broadcast by the Zeus Digital Network for thegolfdirector.com. If you need help with your next golfing vacation, they can just call us right here at Just Call
Dave.
How about that? I messed with you. 844-464-6531, 844-GO-GOLF1. All of our programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. You can click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. You can find us on over 1
billion.
Thank you. Devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Periscope, Catch.me, and, of course, Blueberry. For Nick Kruger, Mr. Callaway himself, Al Cloyd, Dr. Grind, Hugh Roy III, I'm George Honeycutt. This has been Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. We want to thank all of you for joining us, but don't go anywhere. There's a lot more golf news and information coming up next.